What's going on YouTube? Our next legend in the Master Guide series is Gibraltar. Gibraltar has been a staple of Apex Legends since the game launched and has undergone some changes, but in large is the same witty character he has always been. Gibraltar is one of the best legends for beginners and pros alike. He is on the simpler side of things, but much like any other legend in Apex, you can use him to really make him a top tier legend for both pubs and ranked. Let's give you the tips and tricks you need to get you on your way to mastering Gibraltar in Apex Legends. If you are new to Apex, then Gibraltar is absolutely a legend you should be considering mastering. There's not a whole lot of hidden abilities and techniques to this big guy, and while his abilities are typical, the way you use them can allow for some very unique engagements that can help you get the edge on the competition. In this guide, we will be going over all of the abilities and provide you with some in-game examples to help you get started with Gibraltar. Gibraltar is hands down one of the best close range engagement legends in the game, and we will go over all of that. If you are new here, we have a bunch of guides already up on the channel for many other legends, and a link to that playlist will be in the description down below and in the corner of this video. If you like this video and you want to help get the video noticed, hit that like button because it does help quite a bit. And subscribe to the channel for more guides, tips and tricks, and Apex Legends gameplay that will be on the way. First up, if you are watching this video towards the end of Season 7 or in a future season, any relevant changes to Gibraltar will be in the pinned comment down below. This is so you can have the latest information on Gibraltar and be in the know as to how he is currently performing in Apex Legends. Just so we cover all of our bases, there was no updates to Gibraltar at the launch of Season 7 of Apex Legends. This leads me to believe and think that Gibraltar is in a great spot at the moment and will more than likely have minimal changes in the future. This does also mean that this guide should be relevant for quite some time. Next up, let's discuss Gibraltar's passive ability. His passive is called the Gun Shield, and it is one of the best passes in the game, period. I would put it up there with Lifeline's Revive and Horizon's Soft Landing Air Strafing. The Gun Shield is a shield that pops up around the center of Gibraltar's body when aiming down sights. It can absorb a huge 50 damage and can be turned on and off. This Gun Shield only has a 9-second cooldown if broken. If you are asking why this ability is so good, then let's start with the fact that it can absorb 50 damage to the center of Gibraltar's body. For most enemies, this is the easiest spot to be shooting at, especially at close ranges. I dread going up against Gibraltar's at close ranges, not only because this gun shield basically gives them a free 50 health, but Gibraltar is also a fortified legend, meaning they take less base damage than most of the other legends in the game. These two things combined can give Gibraltar the feeling of going up against someone with a whopping 300 total shields and health if they have a red Evo shield. This is insane. Going up against a character with nearly 50% more health is a wild advantage, especially at these close range engagements. There are virtually no negatives to the gun shield other than the fact that it is quite easy to spot a Gibraltar across the map if they are looking around with this shield out. However, have no fear because you can turn this shield off if you are in need of some stealth from range. This brings us to the second huge thing for Gibraltar's gun shield, and that is the fact that it makes a great passive for peeking enemies from range. The fact that you have solid cover all the time to the chest area and you won't need to use heals or shields when peeking because of the shield can be a huge thing for sweaty ranked matches where healing could be tough to come by. Again, this gun shield is legitimately one of the coolest and best passives in the game, and it seems so simple, but it is a huge thing for Gibraltar. In my opinion, this is one of the best parts of Gibraltar. However, we shouldn't sell his tactical ability short because it can be pretty great as well. Gibraltar's tactical ability is called the Dome of Protection. This is a dome that can be tossed on the ground and prevents all attacks from entering a small area for 12 seconds. And if that wasn't enough, Gibraltar can revive his allies in this dome in 4 seconds instead of the normal 5 seconds, which is also about a 20% buff to revives while being inside this dome. The dome does have a 30-second cooldown, which is solid and is in line with many of the other legends' tactical abilities in the game. One thing to be wary of is the fact that this dome does not project all the way to the ground, so if you are on the side of a hill, be careful not to get shot from underneath if you are rotating or pushing down a hill. While on paper his Dome of Protection is a fairly simple ability, there are a few unique scenarios I want to go over when it comes to his tactical ability, because it's not only a great tool for blocking projectiles, healing, and reviving, but it can also be a great utility item for yourself and for your teammates. As funny as it is, this dome can be a superb tool when it comes to rotating yourself and your team around the map. The first scenario I want to discuss with you guys is to use your dome as a tactical piece of cover while you're reviving. My teammate goes down here and I'm able to drop this dome and get that little bit of a buff to revive him quicker. And also, as we are running away, the dome is acting sort of like a wall to protect us so we can rotate into cover. So just keep that in mind. You can use the dome to act as a piece of cover if you are even rotating away from the dome. It is a barrier that the enemies have to get through in order to shoot you. The second scenario is one that I love to use, and that's to use your dome while rotating. You don't need to use the dome just as a revive tool, but you can also use it to rotate through an open area. You're going to notice in this engagement, we are halfway down this platform and a team with snipers and G7s are starting to shoot at us. We are in a pretty bad spot here, so I chucked my dome pretty far up the ramp and we are able to use it as cover again. So we can walk into the dome and then walk straight up past it and they can't shoot at us because this is a barrier that they can't shoot around. So again, make sure you're using that dome to get your team to rotate. It is great for rotation, no doubt about it. The next one is obvious, but it is still worth mentioning. Make sure you're popping that dome of protection down from other enemies' Gibraltar's ultimates or Bangalore ultimates. This will stop the projectiles from entering and can give you a little bit more cover if you need to get away from these ultimates. And the final tip for the tactical ability is to use it as a little bit of a decoy distraction. You're going to notice here that I dropped the dome down immediately after downing this enemy, and for some reason or whatever reason, the enemy doesn't see that I am still there. Either one, the dome is providing a little bit of a hum so she can't hear me, or two, the dome is just enough of a distraction where they don't realize that I'm only around the corner. So this is just something to keep in mind. You can always use this dome as a decoy, as a distraction. You don't always need to use the dome for a rotation item or to block projectiles. The final part of Gibraltar is his ultimate ability, and while I don't like his ultimate quite as much as I like his tactical and passive abilities, the ultimate still has a purpose, especially when you are linking it together with the tactical. Gibraltar's ultimate ability is the defensive bombardment. This calls in an airstrike that lasts 6 seconds and does a decent amount to good damage on enemies that are in this 24-meter radius. There is an audible cue in the area as well as a red circle on the map that does give enemies knowledge that this ability is happening. This ability is much like Bangalore's creeping barrage, but in my opinion, it is a bit more offensive based and ultimately can do more damage to enemies due to the fact that the missiles are in close proximity to one another. For the most part though, this is my least favorite part of Gibraltar's moveset, and I often find myself using this ability to force teams to rotate or to prevent teams from rotating onto myself or my team. Finally, it does take 270 seconds to charge this ability, which is quite a long time, and you can honestly only expect to use 3, maybe 4 max of these ultimate abilities in one full game. However, it is still worth showing a couple of good scenarios where you can use this bombardment to your benefit. First up, like I just said, I love using this ability to force enemies to rotate. You can see here I'm shooting this enemy Gibraltar in the back down below. He pops his dome shield and I know that I can wait a couple seconds and then drop my ultimate ability, so this ultimate ability will hit him when that dome shield runs out. This does one of two things. One, it makes him rotate away, and two, it prevents him from rotating under us into the grow tower. This gives us the ultimate control, and we are able to maintain height control of this area without having anyone under us. The next tip I want to share with you is the importance of this ultimate ability during endgame situations. When the circle gets quite small at the end of matches, this means its ultimate will absolutely shred enemies. You're going to see here we're in Sorting Factory and we are pretty much completely in the open. So I drop my ultimate down on these two teams that are fighting and it pretty much completely shreds them. They are forced into this little crevice, and because of this I'm able to run up because I know they are all pinned in that little area, and we are able to get the win here because of a great ultimate placement. So always just keep this in mind. Put that ultimate down at endgame scenarios, save it for those endgame scenarios, and you will really mess up the enemies for your favor. And finally, guys, I just want to show this last clip, and this is where all of Gibraltar's abilities come together and show his complete power he can have. We do a few things here. One, I drop my ultimate down as we're going across this zip line. I then drop the bubble so we are completely safe, and then we are able to take out the enemies. This is a crazy move you can do. This really just shows the ability of Gibraltar's ultimate and tactical ability. You can use the tactical to have an advantage when rotating, and you can use the ultimate to really kind of make enemies go into cover, get them off rooftops, catch them off guard. These two abilities linked together can make a deadly combo. We're pushing an enemy team here across a very long zip line, which is really risky. but because I have these two abilities, I'm really able to come out on top because of this. Finally, guys, I just want to give my overall ranking and thoughts of Gibraltar in the game. I have hinted at this quite a bit in this video, but Gibraltar is right up there with Bloodhound for my favorite legends for beginners in Apex Legends. The fact that he can have 275 health with his gun shield, and you can boost this if you want to take in the fact that he is a fortified legend, is crazy good for beginners that might not have the fullest of Apex Legends movement capabilities down yet. On top of this, he is highly used by the best of the best pro players and in tournaments because his tactical ability is quite powerful when it comes down to needing to rotate. This paired up with a Wraith Portal or a Pathfinder zipline can really make for some wonderful combos. He is, in my opinion, a top 3 to top 5 legend in Apex Legends, and I highly recommend you try him out if you are new to the game or if you're an experienced player looking to switch things up a little bit. So that is everything to get you on your way to mastering Gibraltar. Drop a comment down below and tell me what you think of Gibraltar. Also, let me know which legend you think I should cover next. We are slowly getting around to doing all of them, but I am curious to see what interests you guys the most. As always, drop a like if you enjoyed this video, and I truly do appreciate your support. I hope to see you in the next video, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Peace out, everyone.